The movie begins with a virus called Rage spreading across the United Kingdom. The virus turns people into bloodthirsty zombies, throwing the entire country into chaos. Cities are devastated, countless areas are destroyed, and the death toll rises as violent attacks become an everyday occurrence. The story then follows a group of 7 survivors hiding inside an old house, doing everything they can to stay alive. They rely only on candles for light because using electricity could attract the infected, causing them to swarm the house within minutes. The group consists of a married couple, Don and his wife Alice, another elderly couple, 2 additional survivors, and a young child. As they struggle to survive, Alice realizes they have almost no food left. She gathers what little they have and prepares a simple meal since none of them have eaten in quite some time. Don explains that he's relieved because he had sent his 2 children to France on a school trip before the outbreak. Knowing they're far away from the virus gives him peace of mind, and he can't imagine what might have happened if they had stayed behind with him. Once the meal is ready, everyone quietly sits down to eat. They're careful not to speak because even the slightest noise could attract the infected. As they sit in complete darkness, they suddenly hear a young boy pounding on the front door while desperately begging them to let him in. The group freezes in fear, unsure whether opening the door is worth the risk. The boy continues pleading for help, saying he needs someone to save him. Alice convinces Don to let him inside, arguing that they can't leave a frightened child alone outside, especially since his cries will eventually attract the infected to their hiding place anyway. They finally open the door and find a boy who looks about 10 years old. They bring him inside and give him something to eat. It's obvious he hasn't had food in days because he devours everything in front of him. When they ask what happened, he tells them that both of his parents were infected and chased him, trying to tear him apart. They ask if there are many infected outside, and he confirms that there are countless zombies roaming the streets. The group tries to reassure themselves, believing the infected probably didn't notice the boy or follow him back to the house. But moments later, they hear terrifying noises outside. One of the girls looks through the window and realizes the infected have already arrived. They break into the house, grab the young boy, and launch a brutal attack on everyone inside. Don and Alice rush upstairs, but Don tells Alice to leave the boy behind because he'll only slow them down. She refuses, insisting on protecting him. Meanwhile, the elderly couple hides in another house, but they can't fight off the infected, who quickly overwhelm them. Alice manages to lock herself inside a room with the boy, while Don ends up trapped in the room directly across from hers. He calls for Alice to run toward him, but before she can move, the infected flood the hallway, separating them completely and trapping them on opposite sides. Alice screams for Don not to leave her and begs him to save her. Instead, Don opens the window of his room, jumps out, and runs for his life. Despite hearing his wife's desperate cries, he abandons her and keeps running as the infected chase him through the darkness. Eventually, Don reaches a small boat, climbs aboard, and escapes, leaving everything behind. 28 weeks later, the U.S. Army arrives to help rebuild Britain. Most of the infected have starved to death, and their numbers have dropped dramatically. We are introduced to Sergeant Doyle, an elite sniper who works with other soldiers to eliminate the remaining infected. At the same time, a doctor is desperately searching for a cure to the Rage virus. Any survivors still hiding across the country can contact the U.S. military for rescue. Safe zones have been established where civilians receive food, shelter, and everything they need to start over. Other areas have also been declared secure, allowing families to return home after soldiers confirm they're completely free of infected. Despite these precautions, the doctor remains worried, especially because many children are living inside the safe zones. While performing medical examinations, she notices something unusual about Don's son and asks whether anyone else in his family shared the same trait. He tells her that his mother did, and that he inherited it from her. When Don is finally reunited with his children, he's overjoyed. We learn that he has been living in the safe zone for some time and now works alongside the military, helping eliminate the remaining infected. He tells his children what happened to their mother but lies, claiming she turned into one of the infected. That night, his son has a terrible nightmare and wakes up realizing he's beginning to forget what his mother's face looked like. The following morning, after Don leaves for work, the 2 children secretly slip out of the safe zone and return to their old home, hoping to find photographs of their mother. Sergeant Doyle, soon discovers that 2 children have breached the quarantine zone and immediately reports it. Meanwhile, the siblings arrive at their house and begin searching every room. Suddenly, they hear a strange noise coming from upstairs. The biggest surprise comes when it's revealed that Alice is still alive. Her children rush to hug her, unable to believe she survived all this time. As soon as they leave the house, they're surrounded by military forces, who take all of them in for medical examinations and testing. The tests reveal that Alice is carrying the Rage virus, but she hasn't turned into one of the infected because her immune system is strong enough to fight it. We learn that she spent the past several weeks surviving on her own, constantly running and hiding while resisting the virus. The doctor explains to the commanding officer that Alice won't become infected herself, but anyone who stays in close contact with her long enough can catch the virus and turn almost immediately. The commander refuses to take that risk and orders his soldiers to execute her. The doctor desperately argues that Alice's unique genetics could be the key to developing a cure using her blood, but the commander ignores her advice. When Don discovers that Alice is still alive, he brings his children to see her. They confront him after realizing he lied when he told them their mother had turned into one of the infected. Overwhelmed with guilt, Don breaks down in tears and apologizes for abandoning her. He stays by her side for a while, but during that time, the virus is transmitted to him and he becomes infected. Once he turns, Don goes on a violent rampage through the facility, attacking everyone in sight. His assault sparks a new outbreak as more and more people become infected. Panic spreads throughout the building, and every new victim quickly turns into another infected, causing the chaos to spiral out of control. The doctor grabs the 2 children and runs toward the safe zone, but Don relentlessly chases them. When his son sees him in that horrifying state, he's terrified and hides inside the ceiling ventilation ducts, where Don can't reach him. Complete chaos erupts throughout the quarantine zone. Soldiers struggle to control the situation because the power is out, making it nearly impossible to tell who is infected and who isn't. Then they receive shocking orders: kill everyone on sight and leave no survivors. Sergeant Doyle and his team do everything they can to target only the infected. At one point, Doyle sees an infected person about to attack Don's son and saves him at the very last second. Moments later, he's ordered to kill the boy because the military assumes he's infected too. Doyle refuses to follow the order, abandons his post, and rescues the child instead. He leads the boy to a safer location, where they reunite with his sister, the doctor, and several other survivors. Everyone is relieved to see the siblings together again. An elderly woman with the group is horrified that the military is executing everyone without even checking whether they're infected. Soon afterward, they receive orders to evacuate because the area is no longer secure. As they try to escape, soldiers continue firing at them under orders to kill anyone who moves. During the escape, the elderly woman is shot and killed, while the others keep running without stopping, desperately searching for someone who can save them. Doyle contacts a friend who flies a helicopter and asks him to rescue them. He sends him the coordinates of a meeting point. As they race through a tunnel toward the extraction site, a massive explosion rocks the entire area. The military blows up the entire zone, killing everyone inside, including people who were never infected. The survivors barely escape and eventually reach the rendezvous point. Doyle's friend arrives in the helicopter, but notices the infected are still close behind them. Doyle tells the doctor and the children to hide while he speaks to his friend. The pilot admits he's afraid to take them because the military will execute him if they find out he rescued civilians after the operation. Doyle tells him to leave, insisting that he'll never abandon the children. The pilot reluctantly flies away, leaving them behind as the infected continue their pursuit. Meanwhile, the military releases deadly poisonous gas throughout the city. The survivors struggle to breathe and take shelter inside an abandoned car, sealing themselves inside. At the same time, military units move through the streets, burning everyone they encounter, whether they're infected or not. Doyle tries to start the car, but the engine won't turn over. He tells the others that his friend will meet them at the stadium and fly them out from there. After several failed attempts to start the vehicle, he gets out to push it. Unfortunately, the soldiers spot him and burn him alive. The doctor takes the wheel and drives away with the children while a helicopter opens fire on them from above. Somehow, They manage to escape and enter a pitch-black tunnel where it's impossible to see anything. The doctor uses night vision goggles to guide them through the darkness, but the infected suddenly attack. She is killed, and the brother and sister become separated, with no idea how to find each other again. Don appears once more and attacks his son. The boy bravely fights back, but Don is moments away from killing him when his sister arrives and intervenes. Crying uncontrollably, she rushes to her brother and realizes he hasn't turned into one of the infected. She understands that he inherited the same rare genetic immunity as their mother, allowing him to resist the virus. In the final moments, the children reach the stadium where Sergeant Doyle had told them the helicopter would be waiting. When the pilot sees them, he points his gun at them, unsure whether they've been infected. After a tense moment, his compassion wins out, and he allows them to board the helicopter. As they fly away, they look down and see that Britain has been completely devastated and is no longer fit for people to live in. 28 days later, the infected are shown overrunning Paris, completely taking over the city. That's the final scene of the movie, leaving the fate of the two children unknown. Thanks for watching. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe to the channel for more videos.